Hello there, and welcome to another Health and Horsepower. This Wellness Wednesday, we are going to talk about why what you are eating or not eating can actually develop and interfere with your concentration, your mood, your energy, and development. So this is important not just for adults, but also the children in your lives. So I want to kind of get to the point. So we all know, we've been told previously, you are what you eat. But if you're not eating the right things, that means that you're also going to define your health by what you're not eating enough of. So the foods we put in our body determine whether our body is trying to heal and regenerate cells and replace and kind of repair the things that need replacing, or whether your body is having to break down itself and suck nutrition out of your cells to make up for what you're not getting in your diet. So this is particularly important for children and adolescents because their bodies are growing. Their brain is remodeling and remapping almost on a daily basis. But also adults that are under chronic stress, adults that are not eating regular meals or are not getting enough of the macronutrients, or adults that are not sleeping well, that are doing intense exercise, or even those that have other health conditions that are putting their body under chronic inflammation. This is very important for you. So we are going to get started today because it matters so much that if you are not getting the right foods in your diet, your body will literally digest itself to provide those nutrients. If your body is not getting the proper nutrients, it's going to put your body in starvation mode. Your body is going to go into a fight or flight response. That means that your body's going to actually shut down digestion, shut down healing, and it's going to shut down sleep so that your body can focus on essential functions like your heart beating and breathing. So when we are dealing with nutritional issues, a lot of times the first thing we'll see is digestive issues start up. So we'll see things like heartburn or reflux that eventually over time can lead to bloating and stomach pain and even constipation. And when it comes to chronic constipation issues, if your body is having very large amounts of stool that are going through and not being pushed properly through the intestines, those intestines actually will enlarge. And when they enlarge after chronic constipation issues, it can take months of basically, once you get your digestive system moving properly and you're eating the right things, it can take months for that to shrink back down to size and to go back to normal. So in kids that are having constipation issues where they are not pooping, where they are having hard poops or having large poops, their intestines can actually enlarge. And then it can take months for that to go back down to normal. So they may have issues for months and months and months, even after you think you've fixed the problem. But another thing that we can see, and I mentioned healing response, but your immune system can start to fail, and we can start seeing where we're getting sick very frequently. We can see where our bodies are not healing from injury all the way, and it's very easy to become re-injured. So if we have, especially athletes that are, oh, I was training or I was at practice and I rolled my ankle, and they're like, oh yeah, it feels better. And then they go back and roll it again and again and again. That's because their body didn't heal fully. So that means their body is in fight or flight mode, missing the things it needs to actually repair properly so that it doesn't keep happening. Because once you twist and actually damage a ligament, you have proprioception receptors inside of that ligament that if they don't heal properly, because they're meant to actually, if they detect like, oh, you're going to go ahead and twist your ankle to the side, they'll tense up the muscles to prevent that from happening. But if they've been injured and they haven't healed properly, they're not going to function to protect you and prevent that ankle from rolling. It's just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling and re-injuring over and over again. The other thing that we need to realize is when your immune system isn't working properly, it cannot recognize cancer cells. Yes, that means on a daily basis, your body looks and finds abnormal cells that are not growing how they should and actually goes through something called apoptosis and kills them. So that means on a daily basis, you are beating cancer. However, if your immune system is not working how it's designed to, it's not going to recognize, it's not going to find, it's not going to kill those cells off. So in many cases, when we have abnormal cell growth in our body that your body isn't catching, it's because your primary actual recognition side of your immune system isn't working. And then those cells start to grow and grow and grow, and they can be benign, they can be non-cancerous, but in some cases are cancerous. So that means that if your immune system is working properly and you're supporting it with what it needs, it can go out there, kill the cancer cells, and prevent you from having cancer in the first place. But only if it's working properly. I also talked about sleep. I think that's really important because I have seen a huge number of increases in the patients that are coming in my office, children and adults, that are not sleeping properly. They may have trouble getting to sleep. They may wake up a lot of times throughout the night, have nightmares, whatever, where they're not getting proper sleep. So their body cannot heal and detox, because at nighttime is when your body heals. At nighttime is when your body detoxifies and gets rid of things that shouldn't be in your body. So what can happen a lot of times is if your body can't detoxify properly, because your liver is really what helps to filter those things out. It attaches those toxins and that gets rid of it, normally through the stool, but there are some other things that have to go out through the kidneys or even the skin cells, and that can lead to everything from skin boils and acne to skin irritations as well. But it's really important to realize that if you are not detoxifying on a nightly basis, that's going to overload your liver. And then your liver is going to struggle to not only get rid of toxins, but also get rid of other things like excess cholesterol, excess hormones that can lead to hormone imbalance if they're not being eliminated. And I know for those of you who have really had an interest in hormones, we actually have a free hormone course that we are launching on our website this month. So if you go to freedompeoria.org at the very top, you can actually sign up to take that course free of charge. So it's a free workshop all about hormone imbalances, specifically for women that are having abnormal periods or are having abnormal symptoms in perimenopause, like hot flashes, if they're having heavy bleeding, irregular bleeding, stopping and starting periods when they've already supposed to go through menopause, any of those things. But that's a free workshop we've offered because I feel like so many people have dealt with hormone balance issues, and sometimes liver may be a part of this. Not getting the right nutrition may be a part of this, but it's really important to realize that if your liver can't function properly, we're going to see energy production change. So you may notice more fatigue. You may notice even after sleeping, you still feel exhausted. We can see hormone imbalance. We can see even healing issues coming about specifically because you're not getting sleep or quality sleep so your body can recover. So if you can't get rid of toxins, your body will actually lower your metabolism, which means that it will be much easier to gain weight even if you're exercising. Even if you're eating all the right things and eating clean, your body will work against you because your body is designed to eliminate toxins just a couple different ways. And if it can't do that, it's going to store them inside your fat cells, which means your fat cells are going to get bigger and your body will not let those go down unless we're eliminating the toxins first. So a lot of times when I am seeing people that are trying to lose weight, that are trying to get a better body composition, so losing fat specifically and gaining muscle, a lot of times what they find is they're doing everything right, but it seems like no matter what they do, their body will not get rid of the fat because they're not detoxifying. So if you're doing a calorie restrictive diet, if you're working out and trying to build muscle, and it just seems like you're not getting anywhere, that may be because your body has toxins in it. So it's really important to understand that you need to get sleep so your body can detoxify and heal itself so that it's not in that fight or flight mode, but we also need to make sure we're supporting our liver. So in many cases, when patients are struggling with weight loss and they've tried everything from keto to paleo to whatever else is out there, they're noticing that no matter what they do, no matter how much they eat or how little they eat, they just cannot lose weight. And that's because their body has lowered metabolism, and namely it's due to toxins. So many weight loss programs out there fail, in my opinion, because you're not getting the right micro and macronutrients to actually fuel your body to actually boost metabolism to lose that fat and build that muscle, but also because it's not supporting your organ systems that are responsible for detoxing and healing your body. So those are huge pieces of the puzzle, I think, for many people where they're not getting the right thing. So like I said, if you don't get the right thing in your diet, your body cannot actually function digestion properly. We cannot actually have immune system working properly. And we also can't sleep properly, which means we also can't detoxify or heal properly. So all those things can kind of work against you. 3 macronutrients, or the big nutrients your body needs to get, those are actually going to be protein, healthy fats, and fiber from fruits and vegetables. We can see not only all the issues I mentioned above, but also focus and even behavioral issues. So if you yourself are dealing with anything from mood imbalances like anxiety and depression, whether you are dealing with mood swings, whether you're dealing with issues with focus or concentration, those could also be linked to your diet. So if you are a parent who is dealing with a child, even if it's a teenager or a young child that is suffering from mood swings, anger, overwhelming emotions, so if they're throwing tantrums and not really consolable, that may be directly related to their diet. It usually means they're missing something in the macronutrients of what their body needs, and their body may actually be starting to actually change normal body functions and to do abnormal things to make up for and try to recover those macronutrients other ways. So, for example, when you don't get enough protein in your diet, your body actually uses that protein to make your muscles, your organs, your hormones, your antibodies, and even energy production. But when your body doesn't get enough, it will actually break down muscle, which lowers metabolism, making it harder to lose weight, to give your body blood sugar. Then your body's going to try everything it can to try to manage that blood sugar as much as possible, because when you're running out of sugar, your body's going to say, okay, we're going to break down muscle to give sugar, and then we need that sugar immediately. So your blood sugar is going to do this all day long, which is going to cause insulin levels to be out of range, which is going to, again, work against weight loss, but it's also going to cause issues with mood. So we may see that we are getting irritable. We may see we're getting headaches. We may see we're getting body aches, specifically because we're having blood sugar supply issues and protein issues. So that can also slow down the production of mood hormones and even your female and male hormones. So that can lead to hormone imbalances that can cause abnormal menstrual cycles. We can see muscle and bone growth slow down and not work properly. We can even see delayed development. So that can include not only physical development, so how your child is growing, their muscle mass, their stature, their posture. We can also see mental issues. So we may see where they are not quite maturing and their brain's not functioning how it should be at their age, and they're missing some milestones emotionally and even mentally because of that. So if your child is dealing with mood swings, if your child is dealing with troubles with behavior or concentration, it may be directly related to their diet. So that's the number one macronutrient I think is super, super important. So when it comes to protein, I recommend 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, 75 grams per day. When we're looking at children, same thing. They're in a rapid growth state. So they need 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. So I would look at their weight, look to see how much protein do they actually need to get, start tracking what they're eating and seeing if you can figure out, are they getting enough protein? That's probably the number one thing I see in kids and especially teenagers, because if they're not getting enough protein when their body's going through hormone changes and their brain's remapping and their body is trying to actually manage everything from their mood to their hormones, they're going to set themselves up for some big issues. So a lot of times teenagers like to go for those junk foods and processed foods and snacky foods, but those typically don't have the right balance of protein in them. So super important to make sure your kiddos are getting enough protein. The second thing we talk about is healthy fats. Now, our body uses healthy fats to actually make and change synapses or connections in our brain to help with brain development and problem solving. So when your kids go through brain changes, what actually happens is there are receptors in the brain that tells us, hey, if I touch this, it's hot, there's going to be a consequence, I'll get burned. Their body actually will break that and actually have a quicker synapse that develops. So as children are going through brain remapping and their bodies are developing and remodeling and remapping their brains, we're going to see where if they're not getting enough healthy fats, they tend to struggle with making those new connections because their body doesn't have the healthy fat to fuel that. Another thing that's really important is those healthy fats also make up every single cell in your brain. Your brain is coated in healthy fats. Every single nerve in your body is coated in healthy fats. So if we have issues with neuropathy, if we have issues with tremors, and if we have issues with nerve function problems, that may be an issue where you're not getting enough healthy fats or not digesting it properly, which means your body can't repair brain and nerve cells how they're supposed to, because your body typically can't heal all the nerves from the spinal cord out. So your peripheral nervous system, your central nervous system typically cannot regenerate. It can make new connections, but we cannot get those cells back once they're damaged, and that's a big problem. So a lot of times demyelinated conditions, neuropathy issues are caused by fat, either imbalances or digestion issues that can be contributing to this. The other thing is that healthy fat is going to give us energy, and that fat is absolutely essential for our hormone production and also vitamin synthesis. You cannot absorb vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D or vitamin K without healthy fats to be absorbed with that. So if you're taking a vitamin D and you're not taking it with food that has healthy fats, guess what? You're not going to be able to absorb that. So even if you're severely deficient in vitamin D and taking 50,000 units a week, guess what? If you're not getting the proper fat digestion or taking it with that, it's not going to get in your cells. We need vitamin K to help our vitamin D absorb and get into our cells. We need healthy fats to absorb the vitamin D in the first place. So if you are not getting enough fats or you're on a low-fat diet and your vitamin D is low, guess what? You might need to change that. So really, really, really important. And typically, when it comes to fats, I recommend that 30% of our diet healthy fats. So that means we want to focus on mono unsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats. We want to be careful we don't overuse some of our saturated fats like coconut oil. And we really want to avoid trans fats, which are hydrogenated oils, as much as possible, because those are just not healthy for us. And the third thing that I want to talk about macronutrients is fiber, specifically from fruits and vegetables. So yes, you can get fiber from Metamucil, you can get fiber from fruit and vegetable supplements, you can get fiber from grains and things like that. However, for a lot of people, those tend to cause more digestive issues. So typically, I recommend a focus on fruits and vegetables because those are going to have not only the fiber that's insoluble and soluble helps to move things through our digestive system to make sure it's moving properly. It also supplies your vitamin C. It also supplies your vitamin B. It also supplies your magnesium, your iron. And if we're not getting enough of those things, we can see anemia, but we can also see more detox issues and more demands and stress on the liver. So really important to make sure that you're getting proper fiber intake, not just for the nutrition, but because that fiber also feeds our good bacteria in our gut. So if we're not getting enough fiber, we can actually see where the beneficial bacteria in our gut actually start to die off, their numbers drop, and that leaves more room for those pathogenic bacteria to start growing and producing mucus, and producing endotoxins, and producing gas that can be very painful in our digestive system. So typically when it comes to fiber from fruits and vegetables, you want about 40% of your diet to include fruits and vegetables. Typically, I do recommend being careful we don't overdo it on the high glycemic index foods. So you want to be careful that you're not overdoing it on fruit. Primarily, you want to focus on vegetables, and vegetables also, and the fiber in vegetables also is going to be what your liver adds that excess cholesterol and excess hormones on. So if you have cholesterol issues, if you have liver issues, if you have hormone balance issues, chances are you might not be getting the right type of fiber or enough of it to help your body detox. So I hope you learned something today. Like I said, those 3 macronutrients are super, super, super important. Protein, again, we want 3/4 of a gram per pound of body weight. Healthy fats, we want 30% of our diet from healthy fats, avoiding trans fats as much as possible, and limiting the saturated fats that we see with like coconut oil. And we also want to make sure that we are getting 40% of our diet from fruits and vegetables, and specifically that fiber in them. So if you have any other questions or feel like you need somebody to sit down and talk with you, feel free to reach out to our office. Our website's freedompeoria.org. You can download that free hormone workshop I mentioned, or you can set up an appointment for yourself or your child. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again next Wellness Wednesday.